Hi everyone, this is your math guru. In this video, I'm going to show you how to factorize the following trinomial completely using the grouping method. In the first example, we have 4x squared minus 19x minus 5. When factorizing trinomials, the first check is to see if the coefficient of x squared is 1 or another number. In this example, the coefficient of x squared is 4. The second step is when factorizing any algebraic expression or equation, you check if there's a common factor. And in this case, there's no common factor between 4, 19, and 5. So using the grouping method, I'm going to find a way to split up my middle term such that I have 4 terms. What I'm going to do is to multiply the coefficient of x squared, which is 4 in this case, and my constant term, which is negative 5. Always make sure you check the signs. And if I multiply 4 and negative 5, I'm going to have negative 20. The next step is to look for the factors of negative 20, such that if I multiply together, it gives me negative 20. But if I add together, it gives me the middle term, which is negative 19. So by the side, I'm going to do my checks. If I have negative 20 factors, I have 5 and 4. That's 5 times 4. I have 10 times 2. But if you note, all these factors I'm writing, none of them is going to give me 19 if I add or subtract. I'm going to try another one. That's 20 and 1. If you look at what I have, 20 and 1, if I say 20 minus 1, it's going to give me 19. The next step is to check my signs. So I'm going to use 20 and 1, 20 and 1. To know the sign I'm going to use, in my question, I have negative 19x. So in order to have negative 19, I need a negative 20 and a positive 1 to give me negative 19. So I'm going to use those two terms or factors to expand my expression. I'm going to have 4x squared minus 20x plus 1x minus 5. So I haven't changed the equation. What I've just done is to expand my middle term as shown. Now that I've done that, the next step is to factorize by grouping. So I'm going to group the first two terms and the last two terms as shown by bringing out the common factor. For the first set of terms, my common factor will be 4x. I'm left with x minus 5. And for the second set of terms, my common factor will be positive 1. I'm left with x minus 5. Now that I have a common term on my left and on my right, I'm going to factor that out, and that will be x minus 5. And then in my bracket, I'm going to write the two terms that are left, which is 4x plus 1. So I've been able to factorize 4x squared minus 19x minus 5 into bracket x minus 5 multiplying in bracket 4x plus 1. Let's look at the second example. In the second example I have, I'm going to write it there, 3x squared minus 14x plus 8. Like I explained earlier, the first check when factorizing is to see if I have a common term or a common factor that is common to all the terms given. I have 3, 14, and 8. No factor is common. Then I move to the next step to check the coefficient of x squared, which is 3 in this case. If it's 1, then I'm going to do my normal factorization, but because I have 3 as my coefficient, I'm going to pick the coefficient of x squared and multiply it by my constant term, which is plus 8 in this case. And if I multiply that, it's going to give me positive 24. The next task is to find factors of 24, whereby if I multiply together, will give me 24, But if I add together, it will give me negative 14. I have factors of 24. That will be 2 times 12 will give me 24. And if I check, 2 plus 12 will give me, oh, perfect. I got the right factors because 2 plus 12 will also give me 14. The next task is to find out what the signs will be. If you look at what I have in the middle, I have negative 14. So in order to get negative 14, I'm going to use negative 2 multiplying negative 12, which will give me positive 24, but will also give me minus 2 minus 12. That's negative 14. So expanding my expression, I have 3x squared minus 2x minus 12x plus 8. I'm going to go to the next step, which is grouping. So if I group the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms, what I will have will be checking the common factor, that's x. I'm left with 3x minus 2. Then I'm going to look for another common factor on my right hand side, and that will be negative 4. That's a common factor. I'm left with 3x minus 2. You must make sure that if you fall, you get your original equation. And if you look at what I have 3x minus 2 common to both sides. So I'm going to take that out. 3x minus 2. And then I'm left with x and minus 4. So I have x minus 4. For the last example, I have 2x squared minus 11x minus 21. Please don't forget to click on the like and subscribe button below for more easy to understand math concepts. So the first check is to see if there's a common factor here. There's no common factor. The next check is, what do we have as a coefficient of x squared? In this case, it's 2, not 1. So therefore, I'm going to pick the coefficient of x squared and multiply it by my constant term, which is negative 21. That will give me negative 42. Then the next task is to look for factors of 42 that will also give me the middle term. If I add together, that's negative 11. So if you check, I have for 42, I have 21 times 2, but if I add that together, it doesn't give me 11. Or if I subtract, I'm going to look for another set of factors. I'm going to use 6 and 7. If I add 6 and 7, that's 13. It doesn't give me the 11, negative 11 that I need in the middle. I'll try another factor. I'll try 14 and 3. If I add 14 plus 3, that's 17. But if I say 14 minus 3, that will give me 11. So the next step is I need to adjust the sign so that if I multiply 14 and 3, it will give me negative 42. However, if I add it together, I need negative 11. So because negative 11, I'm going to make my 14 the negative 1 and plus 3. If I do a double check, this combination will give me negative 42, but it will also give me negative 11. So I'm going to put that back into my expression. Remember, we're using the grouping method. So I have minus 14x plus 3x minus 21. The next step is I need to pick or group my terms in pairs because I'm using factorization by the grouping method. Picking out the common factor between 2x squared minus 14x, that's 2x. I'm left with x minus 7. I'm going to do the same on my right hand side. Common factor is plus 3. I'm left with x minus 7. So therefore, if you look at what I have the common factor on either side, that's x minus 7. So I'm going to take that out, minus 7. And then I'm left with 2x plus 3, which I'm going to put in the second bracket, 2x plus 3. And thus I've been able to factorize. Thanks for watching. Bye.